Well, howdy. Nearly Senior Citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this brand new day. HOKEY smokes. As standard, it is raining and gray and cold outside. It's been raining almost every single day here in the Pacific Northwest, like it used to, but it hasn't done for a few years. So this is unusual weather for the area that has become. And it's dim and gray, and I usually hit about 2 o'clock, and then because it's so dark, my body tells me, hey, time to go to bed. Oy vey, it's been fun. But it's raining, it's dim, it's cold. Excuse me. I at least slept a little bit, and that part's good. And I went walkies last night, and that was fun. All sorts of things. I mean, I am surviving, and that is a good thing. And hopefully, if you're watching this, you are continuing to survive as well. Definitely a thumbs up on that. And of course, to front load the video, hey, if you could interact with the YouTube algorithms, toss me a like if you like what you see in here. Maybe subscribe to the channel if you like that too, and you haven't already. If you could leave me a comment in the comments, that would be very, very awesome. Greatly appreciated. And of course, if you could become one of these beautiful and awesome Patreon patrons. These people literally help to keep me alive, and it is greatly, greatly appreciated. My disability, because I am broken, barely covers my rent, and without these people here, I would not be able to feed myself or keep a roof over my head or keep my pets alive. So thank you so very much. It is appreciated. And if you'd like to become a patron, I do have a link somewhere in the video description. I don't know what device you're watching it on, so if you could check that out, that'd be cool. Don't feel obligated, but hey, at least the option is there. Yay! Front loading of YouTube videos. First off, yesterday, my shirt that I have bought that's new, and the shirt that I have worn before, it's not plaid. I don't know why in the world I have plaid stuck in my head. Plaid is, it might be now, but I got paisley stuck in my head. It's flannel is the point. The color of the shirt isn't important. The print of the shirt isn't important. The material is flannel. So that's the shirt. It's not plaid. Actually it is plaid because I started getting paisley and plaid stuck in my head. So yeah, I guess it is plaid. Yeah, because of Scottish tartans. So, my head. But still, it's thumbs up. And I wish the shirt was a little larger because it fits great as a shirt. But I bought it as a jacket. So, it fits properly, and that's kind of annoying, which is fine. Still, it's nice and warm. The only problem is, of course, it's so dark. So now when I go out walking at night, everything I'm wearing is dark, and I have almost been smeared on the pavement before from cars that weren't paying attention. So I need to go out and get myself a little mini flashlight that I can use again. I gotta be seen, because, dark jeans, dark shirt, dark everything. My skin glows in the dark, but it's so cold lately. I wear a lot of stuff, flannel shirts. But still, thumbs up for that. Yay. I'm telling this small. I don't know why my voice is so clogged up today. Aside from the fact that every morning when I wake up, I take off my sleep apnea mask, which has a filter on it, and immediately my nose and sinuses, these start to clog. My nose starts to run, and then within 15 minutes I'm having to hack because I'm wheezing. Just junk in the air. Yay. But once again, I have discovered that my subconscious knows what it's doing, even though my conscious mind certainly wishes it could do it too. Now, what I mean by that is, I've mentioned before how I wish I could understand symbolism and metaphor and analogy and all that in media. Because I can't make a lot of connections, my enjoyment of media is largely surface, because I can't make those connections of the symbolism and the metaphors. Afterward, when people mention it, it's like, oh God, you're right. And sometimes if it's really heavy-handed, I can see it. But largely, I have troubles with that, and it bugs me, it bothers me, but I can understand sometimes when it's there. My subconscious, my unconscious, on the other hand, it understands. I've mentioned before how I've got this idea for a story, The Adventures of Lemonhead. Part of that, where the main character, who's the widow, Marcia, at the end, she gives herself permission to love again and continue her life. That's a story about me. My wife died 8 years ago now. I'm giving myself permission via story to do that. There is a ton of this stuff. I mean, even the whole inside-outside thing that I have been really grabbing onto and going with. I talk about, the people that die so often because it's an untamable, unending frontier. And the risk of death is huge. And it's just, that's also life and death. Put the risk of death as anything, the frontier, the inside is my trying to deal with encroaching mortality as I grow older. And a lot of the characters and stuff inside have been that. So I have been dealing with this whole cryptid thing with the character of James Baker, who has their genes expressed through this extra energy that's out there, and they become a cryptid, one of the 12 types of cryptids, loose archetypes of cryptids in the world. Except there's a 13th kind. And the 13th kind, they are free of cryptid programming, except you have to consume human beings to survive. I have talked before about how there is quantum knotting in when I talk about the multiverse stuff. We have quantum mechanics that help our brain. We have our brains run. So there's it's a lot of weird stuff anyway. But for the purposes of my story, I posit that there is quantum knotting that goes around in our brains. And this is what stabilizes areas like the inside. And plus, I've mentioned how in the greater multiverse concept, this quantum knotting is also very delicious. And some creatures can feed directly on it. Some creatures cannot, but when they eat you, well, that field has infused the meat, so they get the next best thing. Cryptids in our world, in this story, passively feed off of that quantum knotting that exerts that field outward. The more people there are, the greater the field, the greater the intensity. And these cryptids in our world feed passively off that. The 13th kind can't feed passively. That's why they have to consume an entire human being to get that quantum knotting that has infused the meat. That is why if you just kill someone and then you're going to eat them, you got an hour before stuff starts to fade. After that, yes, well, 5-6 hours in it, you might as well go eat a side of beef for all the good you're gonna get out of it. So it's that quantum knotting and such. Now, though, the big thing with James Baker, who becomes this cryptid and decides that they are Bakir, all the way through this thing, I'm trying to figure out what they're doing, how they're going to live their life now that this big change has happened. In my life, this last year, I've known I've been depressed ever since, I was very young. I was finally diagnosed because it got so bad. And when I was 22 in the Air Force, I've known I've had that. This past year, I have been diagnosed with and treated for ADHD. I have been self-identified because I have not gone through any of the official things out there, but I have been watching actual people that have actual autism talking about what it's like and the actual things that they say that you should check if you think, and I am so firmly parked on the autism spectrum. It explains a ton, and I never knew. All of these things have changed my internal mind and my view of the world and what I'm trying to figure out and because it changed my whole life. Looking back on it, my past is, I thought I was where I am now because of a whole bunch of reasons, but it turns out it's not. I was just dealt a bum hand with the trifecta of the depression, ADHD, ASD, with 2 of those 3 being undiagnosed. So yeah, if I'd gotten help, things would have been different. But without, I am where I am. James Baker, when he decides he's becoming Bakir, is trying to do the same thing. Major traumatic changes in their life, causing them to reflect on everything that has happened, to reflect on what their life is now and what they're going to do with their future. Just like I am dealing with right now. And not only that have I made Bakir's life a direct parallel of what I'm going through. I've already mentioned how at one point he becomes mortally injured and Daff has to offer himself up to be eaten, and Bakir does. I survived the death of my wife. Bakir is going to be going through the exact same thing with the death of Daff. This is kind of heavy-handed, direct symbolism, but yeah, my subconscious is trying to deal with these things, and even though up here consciously I can't do it, my subconscious is pouring so much effort into it to make sure that I can work through these things. I do not know how long this has been going on, probably my whole life. But it was just a rather eye-opening thing, because I used to have to discover that I was working symbolism into my stuff by discovering it years or months later. Now I'm working on stuff and able to step back and go, oh, well, that's why I'm doing that. Hokey smokes. Because yeah, I'm still working on Bakir and Daff's relationship. I'm still working on who Daff, he came from the Razor's Edge. And so later on, I figure at first when they first meet, James Baker, who's just eaten a cop when he wakes up in the hospital and is starving, they talk and find out that it's like, why aren't you more scared? I ate a guy. And Daff is like, well, that where I come from, that doesn't happen every day, but hearing about someone being eaten is like, that's like every Wednesday. And like I said, it doesn't happen every day, but every couple of years, someone family, friends, or an acquaintance, they get eaten. So yeah, it's kind of making me a little nervous that you ate a guy, but why'd you do it? Survival or? And then going from there, hey, Razor's Edge, the untamable, unending frontier where your chance of being eaten is never zero. It's always just small. Not very small. Not extremely small. Never vanishingly small. Just, well, there's a large chance, there's a medium chance, so there's a small chance. Your chance of being eaten on the Razor's Edge are only small. Now, of course, when I say that as well, I've thought about this too. That doesn't mean you are going to be eaten. That just means there will be some attempt to eat you. Now, a lot of these, like a good 66% of them, are easily survivable because it's like the equivalent of a chipmunk deciding it wants to eat you. Chipmunk can only eat like maybe maximum 2 ounces of meat. So if you get killed by a chipmunk so it can eat 2 ounces of your meat, maybe it's good that you're out of the gene pool, to all the way up to having to fight off a raccoon that wants to eat you. Well, it's going to be a little harder to fight off something like a golden retriever, but given a chance with some weapons, you can probably do it without too much damage taken. It's the 1/3 of the people that end up absolutely dead. Amelia, please quit digging in the box. Oh, God. Ugh. Those are like the panthers, bears, giant lizards, kaiju. And sometimes, unlike when a chipmunk is attacking you, sometimes when you are attacked by something that wants to eat you, the odds are so far stacked against you, you might as well be a hummingbird trying to fight off a barrage of, well, a nuclear bomb. Ain't gonna happen. You're just gonna get et. So that's the stuff I've been working on. There is still a whole bunch that I have on my list, but just, hey, understanding things about my life has made an impression on me. Amelia, will you please stop digging in there? Get out of there. If she would just use the box, that'd be fine. But then she'll just dig in it and then dig and dig and dig and dig and dig. And then she'll go back to it and dig. And then I'll chase her out of it. And then she'll go back and just dig. And she's just digging. But I've opened up 24 hours worth of comments in my community tab, and HOKEY smokes, were there very, very few people that left me comments in this last 24 hours. There were more than 0, so that's awesome. If I mispronounce a username, no disrespect is intended, and even though I count American Sign Language, well, with my depression, fibro, and more, I forget a lot. So let me call it my Chrome. We have Shadow, thumbs up and thank you. Jocelyn Williams, indeed. Ice Damon, greatly appreciated. Call of Booty. I love the entire Postal series. Oh my god, I love the game Postal too. It is so good. There is AJ Cruz, greatly appreciated. Confused Owl 29, thumbs up and thank you. Good to see you in the comments again as well. Matthias Hertquist, I think. Thank you very much. Ben B, greatly appreciated. Melissa R, good to see you in the comments again. And that is it. Thumbs up. I mean, as stated, anything more than 0 is greatly appreciated. Thumbs up and thank you also very, very much. Now, of course, with my hands in the air, I do not know what device you're watching this on, so I do not know where the video description is, but inside I have links to all my other channels. I have a reaction channel, creative channel, I have a gaming channel that I don't know what to do with yet. If you could check those out, that would be cool. I also have links to my Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and if you could become, once again, I want to call out these beautiful and awesome people, but if you could become one of these beautiful and awesome people, that would be truly beautiful and awesome. Definitely a thumbs up. These people literally, as stated, help to keep my pets alive and a roof over my head, and I'm fighting desperately to not become homeless, so thank you to each and every one of those people. If you could become one of them, that would be truly awesome. I also have links to I have PayPal, so if you have any spare change that you could toss my way, that would be awesome. I have an Amazon wishlist link with stuff like cat food and hamster bedding. If you could check that out, that would be awesome. Do not feel obligated. I do not feel entitled, and if you cannot or do not donate, I take all good wishes and I deposit them in the bank of my heart where I draw interest, so thank you very much. Of course what? I hate getting derailed. I think it's, if you could toss me a like, I appreciate all the positive validation I can get. And of course, if you could hit the notification bell on the subscription button, that would be very, very cool. Greatly, greatly appreciated indeed. I want to talk more again one day about how I still don't know what my natural voice is. I really don't. Because this isn't my natural voice. This is me constricting my chest and my throat to keep my voice way up here so that people can hear me better. My voice is way, 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 way naturally deeper, but it's harder to understand people with a deeper voice. And even this is still constricting. If I relax even more, of course, it gets deeper and deeper. I do not know what my natural voice is. These are a good foundation for life, but they are only a foundation, and there are a small number of foundations. Choose a good foundation in life. Does not have to be this set. And then build upon it, a good idea. And of course, with the Covfefe bug still raging and the variants just going crazy around the world, please, this is not political, it's not a hoax. Take care of yourself. If you don't have to go out, don't. If you do, maintain your social distancing, wear a mask, wash your hands off, and try not to touch your face. Get the vaccine if you haven't. Get a booster if you can. The virus doesn't care if you perish. The virus doesn't care if you have lifelong disability because you survived it. The virus only wants to spread. So until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. We'll see you on the flip side. And that is a very good thing. Is this gonna pop? Ah, there we go. There we go. Thumbs up.